All right. Hi, Mel. How are you?
Hi, I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. I'm going to do a little intro in the blog so that, everybody gets to know who you are. But just in terms of like our personal relationship, I'd love to like talk a little bit about that. We both met through our business coach, right? Dallas Travers. And also, yeah, and I love what you do. Of course, you're in the entertainment industry, as most of the people who are following me, and in the things that I do as well. And then also in my past career as a TV producer.
Great.
um yeah, so tell me a little bit about like how you even got into the entertainment industry and being a casting director.
Oh, it's a cat mistake. Like all of it's a mistake. I don't, it really honestly is. I went to school for marketing. Um, yeah, I was like waiting tables in South Florida and somebody was like, "Oh, you'd be great in commercials." And so I started just like, I was like, well, I guess I need to get into an acting class. I really didn't know what I was doing. So I
Mm-hmm.
got in an acting class and we were like rolling around the ground. I'm like, this is the only one around, in Davie, Florida. And so I was rolling around for like a year. And then, slowly but surely, I started to take workshops with casting directors. It was like when they first came out, late 90s. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, I really booked as much as I could in that area. And then I took a workshop with Mark Hirschfeld, head of NBC at the time. And he said, "Hey, why don't you fly out to LA? I'll help you get an agent. I think you could book a pilot." And so I was like, great. I was like living in this like thank God you're here, by the way, for actors money wise, because I was like in a little teeny apartment. Like, I wish I would have had you back then. So I just kind of scrapped everything, moved to LA. I didn't know anybody and signed with this big fancy agent and hit the ground running. And within that, my agent had introduced me to an acting teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up sticking with her. And in class, I was like, I cannot wait tables anymore. And this guy in my class is like, "Hey, my wife works for this casting director. Maybe you could help them out this weekend." So I met Liz Paulson over at Liz Paulson Casting, which is now Mel and Liz Casting. And so Liz really trained me. And so, I worked for Liz for about 7 years. So I was able to meld, the acting background with that. And I was still acting, like I still book work, but I'm not active about it. But I know I kind of am that trifecta. I
Mm-hmm.
have the acting experience, I have the casting experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I also wrote a book for actors. So I kind of have that whole, um, I don't know, shebang, I guess.
Yeah. What made you also want to now shift over into really helping actors understand this process as a coach, as a mentor? Why did you want to make that switch?
What really made me make the switch to wanting to help actors is when I moved to New York from LA. So I actually was in Vietnam and I cast a commercial in Vietnam for this salad company while I was living there. I like quit the industry for a hot second and I was like, I got to get out of LA and go back home to New York. And in the meantime, I cast this commercial, which was very exciting and also very different. And when I came to New York, I was like, wow, it was such a contrast between New York and LA because it was mostly theater people that we were seeing in the room for. I work in commercial casting. I mean, we also do indies and other kind of casting occasionally. And I said, you know what? I think I could really help actors learn how to transition from the stage to TV for television and film and commercials. Because
Mm.
again, the teacher that I worked with or that I took class with, I was also in her TA program. And then I also started to teach for her, started to TA with her. So I really had that solid background for television and film.
Mm.
And it
That's
was
so
great.
important.
Yeah, it was just, I just was like, hey, let's give it a whirl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I always think that it's so valuable to actually get coached by someone who understands the other side of it, right? Like you know, as a casting director, you've seen all of the tapes that come in, and, you know, and then before self tapes, you were in the audition rooms with them, you know, seeing actor upon actor come in for different roles. And so you have such a, you know, experience and wisdom behind it. What do you see as like one of the number one things that, you know, when somebody comes in the door and they're like, you know, trying to audition and trying to do, you know, trying to make it, trying to get the role, what do you see as like a huge thing that, you know, you would love to just share with them and tell them, like, you know, this is what you need to know?
You know, I think the number one thing I tell my actors is confidence goes a long way. And that's tied into a whole ball of wax, right? Like if you're not good at cold reading, if you're not good at getting off book quickly, if you don't know your type, if you just don't know who you are when you walk into a room, you're always going to try to fit into somebody else's box. And that's not what we're looking for. We honestly aren't, right? We're looking for somebody, a personality. Yes, talent, of course. But if you're coming into the room, like everybody's at that level, right?
Yes.
So now we're looking at like, hey, can we work with this person? Can we be on set with this person? Do they execute the direction? Do they understand who they are and how they're presenting, and that it's a business? It's not just
Yes.
craft, you know? So I always
Yes.
that in class, craft plus business equals success.
Right, perfect. I mean, this is something that I noticed when I was a director of development and then a vice president in development. I would sit with casting sometimes, you know, when we had different shows and things going on. And what I noticed is, yeah, everybody comes in, everyone has the same script, right? So they're reading the same lines. And the person who would get it or grab our attention was always somebody who, one, had a very different energy about them, knew who they were, and then two, brought something to the table, right? Like brought their own special uniqueness to that role, to that particular, you know, script, that it was just undeniable for us to say, yes, we're going to invest in this person, right? Like, and as a money coach, it's like, you know, it's so important that you become the person that somebody can really invest in and say, like, yes, I'm going to put my money behind you, right? And know that you're going to deliver for us, right?
100%. The biggest thing I hear from actors, like on Instagram, a lot of times, you know, I'll do a video, and the biggest thing, you know, well, I don't know what casting wants. Neither do we.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you think about it, we have a story to go by, we have a character breakdown, and commercials, we have a board. So we're putting together a casting based on that information. I'm sure you've seen it from that side, you know, from your side as well.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you're right. Everybody has the same script. Everybody's walking in. So I know the story. The writer knows the story. The director knows the story. So what is your spin on it? And it's not like tricks. I always tell actors, I'm like, there's no big trick to this. It is about being confident with your choice and bringing how you would be in this situation, and also within the confines and honoring that story.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So when this interview comes out, you would have just completed your master classes on, right, yeah, on 3 mistakes that you've seen, right, with actors, and how to really help actors to kind of, get into the room and get going. One of the things that I've seen over and over again, something that I keep hearing, especially this year in my groups, is that they want to be able to have the opportunity to even like be able to book, right? It's not even just about like, yes, of course they want to book more, but it's also about getting the opportunities to book more. What would you say to somebody who was talking about that and really wanting those opportunities more? How would they, help themselves?
I'm going to go off of my experience. So for me as an actor, and because again, I didn't have a map, right? Like, that's why I have an actor game plan for actors. I'm like, why wasn't nobody was doing this? Right. So, when it comes to what I would tell an actor, how to get more opportunities, this might be wrong, spoiler alert, because it's investment. Casting director workshops. And so I know there's a thing, people are like, it's pay to play. For me, it's an investment. I worked an extra shift as a waitress because it was all fine and dandy. People can send me emails. I've had people send me lovely emails to the casting office, but I don't know you. I only have your reel and I have your headshot. It's great. We take risks on people at House Casting. That's why I love working there. But, it's a small business, and I am much more confident if I've seen you before. And, I built a pretty good, steady acting career on my own because I invested in those workshops, and they're not to teach you, they're not there as teachers. You got to bring your A game to those, because you're showing up in front of casting and we're looking at you like, number one, are you showing up professionally? Are you making strong choices based on your type? Is your marketing in line? Do you know who you are? Right. And what do you bring into the table that's going to make me want you? Right.
Absolutely.
And it's not like anything, there's no bells and whistles to it.
Yeah, that's such a good point about, that you don't know them, and then being in a workshop with you helps you to get to know them, right? And it's the same thing as an actor's agent or manager, right? You can have an agent or manager, and if they don't really know you very well, they're not going to sell you in a good way either, right? So I think it's the same thing. And then I always say that, like, when I was in the entertainment industry for 15 years, I had never got a job by just applying for something. I always got it through somebody else, like a relationship. So I know that that's how every part of this business works in that way, is like relationship. Right. And so being in the room with you, having you get to know them and their work, and then for you to go, oh, I get who this person is. And then to be able to set them up for success for future roles is actually really, really smart.
Well, think about it. So if Katie, right? I've never met you before. Your agents reached out and said, hey, Mel, guess what? We just signed somebody new. We'd love for you to check them out. We think that they're great for this role that you're currently casting. Great. Let's see them. I'm getting a feel for who you are when I'm watching your self-tape audition, right? So it's like agents and managers, and I'm sure you know this from the producer side. If nobody really knows you, it is a huge risk we're taking, because all we're getting is face value. So we're seeing you this one time. We're hoping, right, that you book the job, that you're not going to be late, that you're not going to be a jerk on set, that you're going to be off book and be prepared, and that you're going to be cool to work with. Because if you're not, it comes back on us. There's like too many stories I've had from actors where I'm like, this is a business. Like, we're like risking a lot to get you to that step. So please just don't mess it up. Right. And actors, and I don't mean walk on eggshells. I mean that confidence I'm talking about. I have so many actors like get it backwards. Like, I just want an agent. I'm like, but you don't know anybody. Nobody knows you. So it's a double-edged sword. And again, it's business.
Absolutely. Right? Yep, absolutely. I have a friend who works a lot, actually. And, he's considered a working actor, right? Like, you probably don't know him by name or face. However, he definitely books a lot of roles. And one thing, I think I asked him one time, like, what he thought was one of his secrets. And he said something like, I think I'm really good in the room. And what he meant by that was that he would be really, like, he would start to form these relationships with casting directors, right? And so he became like a favorite. And every time like some role would come up where they kind of needed a generic person like him, you know, he would get the call. He would usually get the call, you know, to come in and do something, right? Because he, you know, he was very well liked. And I can see that, right? Like he's one of those people that's like very magnetic and, really makes you want to get to know him and be, you know, be his friend in a way. So I also see that as a plus, right? Like, you know, and that's part of what you're saying too, is like you getting to know these actors, right? Like being in a workshop with you, being, you know, working with you, it's like you get to know who they are even more as people, right? And that also helps too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it shouldn't be a difference when you turn the camera on to do a self tape, right? Like, and I've had directors that I've worked with before, and like in the Zoom callback room where they'll say, at the end, it's really cool. We always work with this one director, and he's great. He does a lot of film. He does a lot of comedic film, but he loves to do commercials when he's not working on film. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I took away from working with him over the years is he's like, I always look to see if between when I'm talking to them, when they come in the room and their slate, if it's seamless, or if it's like, hey, Katie, I'm Melanie Mack, or hey, Katie, I'm Melanie Mack. Right. So it's like so interesting. Like I look for that now. Like it's such a great thing that I will like share with actors like, hey, try it, you know, see how that works out. See how that works out for you.
Oh, but I love that.
Yeah, I feel like that what you're saying, booking the room is confidence. Your job isn't to book the job. It's to book the room. There's too many factors that are at play that you just don't have control over. You know, and if you get called, it's funny, I coached 4 actors today for the same new show, totally different roles, totally different episodes. Every single one has been in for this office before. And so for me, before the coaching, I was like, you know what that means, right? And all of them were like, what? They're like, wait, what? And I'm like, you built a fan. The fact that they're casting a new show, a brand new show, season 1, and you got called back into a room. Because I look at their history, I'm like, they called you in twice already last year. And sometimes I think as actors, like, it's so important to remember those wins, because for us on the casting side, there's 1,000 people that submit for your role. 1,000 people. And you got that audition. And if you didn't, then you got to get out there and have people know you.
That's so powerful. Yes.
Because we need you. We totally need you. And if we don't, and actors will ghost us. We get ghosted. It's like dating. I'm like, wait, where'd that actor go? Like, I haven't heard from them. You know, I like when actors don't send me a long, huge Santa list of an email, but like, hey, Mel, just did this. Great. I might have something that came across my desk and it's perfect for you. I wanted to share.
But get to know you first, right? Not just randomly, like without you ever getting to know them, like start sending you stuff, right? Yeah.
Or I've had people blind submit. And again, if you don't know yourself, you're writing this like diatribe that I just not going to read because I don't know you. Right. So you got to hook me. It's still a business. You still got to hook it. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this is so great, right? Like, I think anybody who's watching this right now, like just from this very short bit that you were talking about, like really understands, oh my God, you have so much knowledge and experience, and there's so much that you can teach, you know, actors in how to do this, you know, how to do this work so that you get more of those opportunities and you can get more bookings and, you know, and really thrive in this career, because, you know, it's tough. It's not an easy career for sure. You know, it's probably one of the toughest because you're always facing a lot of rejection and criticism and those kinds of things. However, if you love this work, this is what it takes to kind of get you to that next level, right? Is to really take advantage of these opportunities to work with a real casting director, you know, somebody who's actually doing this, you know. So Will you just, while we're wrapping this up, is like, tell me one thing that you would want actors to kind of take away from, or if they can like really learn something from your workshops, or like, even the master classes that just ended, something that where they can reach out to you, or, come and work with you. How do they do that? How do they come and work with you?
Yeah. First of all, just come say hi on Instagram.
Mm.
Like hop on over, DM me. I'm a very open person. I'm here to help actors because I did not have that help. I had to really navigate it on my own, and it was very stressful for me. So Mel Mack Acting Studio over there, I made a whole bunch of free videos on YouTube for people to check out and comment. Always happy to make a new video to answer people's questions because I would want that as an actor. So that's Mel Mack Acting Studio. We have a Facebook group that you can join from the casting room on Facebook. So I'm there as well, hanging out, asking some questions. And you can also check out our website, melmackactingstudio.com. We got pretty great freebies. I was very conscious during COVID. As a casting director, I panicked. I was like, oh my God, I have to put a class together for self-tapes because I'm seeing what's happening in the room. And I'm still seeing it. I have quite a few conversations on a weekly basis with agents and managers. And I'm like, all right, well, here's a solution, you know? So I think that's the best way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, that
I
definitely
wanted
answers.
for your community, one thing I wanted to just share quickly. I did the South by Southwest actor conference last year, and I met this guy, and he happened to show up when I was doing the opening, and he was just this cool kid, right? And he's confident, he's comfortable in his skin. We hung out and we chatted for maybe like 10 minutes, right? I get back to New York, and I can't remember how it went down. I want to say he emailed me because I said to all actors, email me. Here's my email address. Here's a freebie. You have any questions, let me know on Instagram. So it was either Instagram or he emailed the office. He happened to live in New York and just said, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to go meet all these people at this conference from LA, New York, and the Midwest. I'm going to spend the money. I'm into acting. I have my own things that I've been doing. I don't know what to do next. So he really took a risk. He stayed the weekend, flew out there, right? Got a hotel. When he came back, we decided to work together. And we happened to be doing a SAG national commercial. And I'm like, he is perfect for this role. In the meantime, he ended up signing with this agent that I met in Arizona. So I got to communicate with that agent. Hey, we got a great role for him, even though he's in New York, right? That's the beauty of the virtual world.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he didn't get it, it was a very short time period. So when your community is like, how do I get more opportunities? You create them and you take a risk like that. Because now he's got an agent. We already know him, and he's already going up against SAG actors, and he's non-union. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't really have anything on his resume. Mm-hmm. So that's how right?
Yes. Absolutely. That is so cool. And you're actually offering a chance for my community to get a little bit, even though get the replay on the masterclass, right?
A replay. Yeah.
Yes.
Replay.
Awesome.
Please.
Awesome. So good. I'll put all of the details in the notes or in the actual blog post, and so they'll have all of the details. So,
Katie, thanks.
Thank you so much for being here, Mel.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm so I'm so happy to get to know you and to call you my friend. And you're really doing a lot of great work to help actors to make more bookings and to have more opportunities. So thanks.
Sure. And right back at you. You're helping people invest their money, actors like learning how to invest their money so that they can have longevity and they have peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, I'll see you later.